You know what? A quick commercial break. Saying a story is not easy at all. Hello everybody, hi everyone, good day, welcome back to another video. This is Codes with Sally and my name is Sally. Well, from the title of this video you could tell it's a story time, so stick and stay and let's get started. This story is about a young boy who lost his dad and some things he went through in his life, certain situations he faced, and some behaviors and attitudes portrayed by certain characters in the story, and how successful he became in the end. So let's get started. Anyway, this story is not going to be like the normal fairy tale stories we know and the normal it ended happily ever after stories. I'm going to take you back to the olden days in this story. The setting is going to be like a village setting. Once upon a time, or should I say story, there was this man. He was very old. He had 3 children. And then they always meet and then he would tell them stories. So it got to a point in time he realized he would die soon. So he called all his children, they were 3, and then told them he thinks he might die anytime soon. So he wants to share his properties among them. He had 9 cows. You see, back in the olden days, it's either they are farmers or herdsmen. These were the major work that they were doing. So he shared his cows among his children equally. So each had 3 cows. Fast forward, few weeks after this particular meeting, he passed on. And then his 2 elderly sons decided to move out of the town to another town to find something better to do. So it was left with only one, the last born in the house. And he's the main character of this story. We are going to center on him most. So the last young boy, the last child, was the only one left in the house. One day, another old man came in search of a place to stay, and then he met this young boy. And then the young boy was very happy. He was glad to allow him to stay in the house because he was the only one left there. So he told this old man that when his dad was alive, he used to tell them stories and then give them advice. So he wants this old man to give him an advice too. The old man accepted to give him pieces of advice on one condition, that any advice he gives to him, he's going to take 1 cow in return. So the boy accepted. Meanwhile, he had only 3 cows. He had 3 cows. So one day, this old man called the young boy and told him he wants to give him his first advice. So he told him that the first advice, he told him that if anybody helps him or someone grants him a favor, he should be able to say thank you to the person. He should say thank you to anybody who helps him or grants him a favor. So after this advice, he took 1 cow. And then the second advice he gave him was that he shouldn't disappoint people who honor him. He shouldn't disappoint people who honor him. After this same advice, he took another cow. So the young boy was left with 1 cow. And then he called him again and then told him he has another advice for him. He told him that if he's carrying a load or he's with something and then someone offers to help him by carrying the load or taking what he is going with from him, he should allow the person to help him. That was the third advice. So after the third advice, the old man took the last cow, and then the boy was left with nothing. So after deep thinking and several thoughts, he decided to move out of the town to go to a different town to get work to do, and then to find something to do for himself, for him to get a better living. So he told this old man and then bid him goodbye, and he left. On his way going, he was very tired. He was very tired, thirsty, and then hungry. But then he didn't give up. He went on. He got to another town. And then when he got to that town, he met 3 ladies who were by a riverbank. So he approached them, and then he told them that he wants water to drink. And these ladies were washing by the riverbank. So he told them, and then the ladies gave him water to drink. And then he gave the ladies the, what do we call it? Oh wait, it wasn't a cup by then, but whatever. He gave it back to them, and then he set off. So after a few minutes of him going, he then remembered that the old man told him that if somebody offers him help or grants him a favor, he should say thank you. So he turned back and went to the ladies again and told them that he's very sorry, he didn't say thank you earlier on, but he was taught that if someone helps him, he should say thank you. So he's back to say thank you. The ladies were amazed. They were surprised because not everybody in that village was like that, and then he was different. So they asked him where he was going, and then he told them his mission. They told him they can get him a place to stay since they were the king's sisters, but then he declined the help, and then he went back. So as he was going, he searched for a place to stay. He didn't get any, and then he remembered that he met these ladies, and then went back to them and told them that he wants the place they offered him. So these ladies took him to the king and told him, they told the king about him, and that he was very humble, he was decent, he's different from any other person, so the king should allow him to stay. The king then allowed him and then gave him a room to stay in. But then the king wanted to test him first to see whether all these qualities they were talking about are true. So he gave him several things to do, and then he realized he was very hardworking and he possessed every quality a young boy should have. He then became the king's favorite. People were really jealous, especially those who were working in the palace. They were very jealous because this boy just came, and then the king just likes him just like that, and then he has become his favorite all of a sudden. It got to a point in time that the king gave him, you see, the king had a room where he kept all his wealth and his riches, and then no one was in charge of that room by then, before he came. It got to a point in time he was kept in charge of this room and even allowed to stay inside the room. So people became very jealous. They became very, very jealous of him, to the extent that the king's spokesman decided to hatch a plan for the king to get rid of this innocent young boy. Can you imagine? So this was his plan. He decided that he would have an affair with the queen, the king's wife. Okay, the king doesn't have one wife, but then he would have an affair with one of the king's wives, and then tell the king that this young boy is responsible for the pregnancy if the queen becomes pregnant. Lo and behold, he was able to make his plans come to reality, and then the queen got pregnant. So immediately he realized that the queen is pregnant. He went to the king and told him that his wife is pregnant, and then this innocent young boy is the one responsible. The king was very angry. He became very angry. So he wanted to find out if it's true or not. He called his wife and then he started talking to, he didn't ask her anything, but then he started talking to her, like having a normal conversation. And then he knew his wife was pregnant. You see, it's obvious. Husbands get to know some differences, and then so he knew the wife was pregnant. At this point, he made a plan to kill this innocent young boy. You know what? A quick commercial break. Saying a story is not easy at all. I need water. So, we are back from the commercial break. This was the king's plan. He had a town where his executioners were in. So he wrote a letter and then wrapped it and then added some few items and called the the young boy and told him that he wants to send him to that town. So he gave him the items and the letter, which was wrapped. And then he told him he doesn't want him to go by foot. So he's going to give him his white horse. And note that no one uses this white horse except the king. He's the only one who has the permission to use this particular white horse according to the culture of that community. So he gave him the white horse and then the boy left. On his way, he met the king's spokesman. As jealous as he was, and the fact that he wanted to use this white horse, he told the young boy that he was the one supposed to be sent by the king, but since he wasn't around, the king sent the young boy instead. So he should give the items to him for him to send it. He didn't want to, but then he remembered that the old man told him that if he's carrying a load and then someone offers to help, he should give the person the chance and the person should help him. So he gave these items in the wrapped envelope to the spokesman and the white horse as well, and then the spokesman left. So when he got to the town where the executioners were in, he gave it to the leader there, and the leader told him to wait. You know what? The letter contained this information, that the one coming with the white horse and the items should be beheaded and his head brought back to the king. So they did exactly what the letter said and then gave it to one of the guards to come back with the feedback. So as he was coming, he met this young boy, and then the young boy told him that initially he was the one who was sent by the king, so the guard should give him the feedback for him to send it, else the king will be angry. So the guard gave it to him and then he went back. The king was surprised and shocked to see this young boy come back. So he took his feedback, which contained the head of the spokesman, and then he took it inside and then he opened it, only to see the head of his spokesman in it. He didn't know what to do. He was confused, so confused. So he called this young boy and then asked him to tell him whatever happened on the way. The young boy narrated everything to him. Then he told him to go back. He called him back again and showed him the head of the spokesperson, the spokesman. And then he narrated everything to him again. He told him to go back. So after a while, he called for a gathering. And then the gathering was between his wives, and the young boy. And then he told his wives to tell him about this young boy. Everybody said good things about him. And then he asked the wife who had an affair with the spokesman that he has seen that she is pregnant. Meanwhile, they haven't met or they haven't had sex for a while. So who is responsible for the pregnancy? Immediately she started crying. She started crying. And then confessed. She confessed everything. Few days after the gathering between his wives and the young boy, he called for a grand gathering in the whole village, meaning everybody in the town was supposed to come. So it was with this gathering that he told the whole village, he told the whole town or village everything that had happened. And then he divorced his wife in everybody's presence, and he told the young boy that he's going to divide his wealth, his riches, and everything that belongs to him into 2 equal halves and give him part of it. And then he did this. He divided his wealth, his riches, his power, everything, and gave the young boy half of it. One big lesson I have learned from this story is that jealousy, I am emphasizing on the jealousy, Jealousy, jealousy breeds hatred and then selfishness. Let's take a look at what the spokesman did. 1, he had an affair with the queen. 2, he got her impregnated. 3, he wanted to get rid of an innocent young boy. And in the end, what did we see? He died. He died a miserable death. You shouldn't be jealous of anybody. You shouldn't be selfish. You shouldn't hate anybody for no reason at all. The fact that someone is making it better than you in life doesn't mean you should be jealous of the person. You don't know how the person started. You don't know when the person started. You don't know the struggles the person have been in. So just pray that you get to where the person is. And you shouldn't be jealous. You shouldn't be selfish. You shouldn't hate anybody. Why should you do that? Tell me. Why? And another thing I've learned is that you should try as much as possible to take pieces of advice elderly ones tell us in good faith. I mean good pieces of advice. Some elderly persons give bad pieces of advice, no doubt. But you must take good pieces of advice from elders. And looking at the situation where the spokesman had an affair with the queen, meaning the queen wasn't faithful to the king. As a young boy, as a young girl, you need to be faithful. Be faithful to your girlfriend. Be faithful to your boyfriend. Be faithful to your husband. Be faithful to your wife. It's as simple as that. Is it too complex? Is it difficult to be faithful? Oh. It's not difficult. Just be faithful. Why should you have an affair with someone when you're already in a relationship or a courtship or whatever with another person? It's not right. So take this as a little advice from a little girl and be faithful. I'm a Christian and I believe what the Bible tells us. The Bible tells us that do unto others what you want others to do unto you. It's a simple, this is self-explanatory. Do unto others what you want others to do unto you. I'll end by saying these statements, and this brings us to the end of the story. You said I told you it was going to be interesting. Wasn't it interesting? Please don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. Most importantly, don't forget to share, and don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section. Tell me what you think about this story. Tell me your contributions. Tell me the moral lessons you've learned and a whole lot more. Anything you think I need to know, please tell me. And as always, smile, be happy, and stay safe. Till I meet you in another video, it's goodbye. Bye.